The Crusher is an extremely problematic enemy for a lot of players until they get used to handling it. And that's because he pushes you every time he attacks. So a way around this is just doing this. Dodge, slide, while you return fire on him. But if there's like 4 of them stacked up, that's not gonna work really. But we're gonna talk about it for a little bit longer because that demonstration wasn't super perfect. You really can, if you're a zealot especially, with like a thunder hammer, you really can just straight up do stuff like this. Just dodge to the side, and then boom, bonk him. So, another thing I want to talk about is suppression. Oh, and to show you I'm not doing any funny business, we're not taking this node, which I will say, not a bad node, by the way. If you wanted to, you could totally, in fact, I might actually just start doing this in my builds. Like, I genuinely, because I don't think 10% damage for 5 seconds is really that important. It will make killing bosses a little weaker, but I do want to show you a huge advantage to this little setup, is you can do something like this. You can aggro this guy and just shoot in his general direction and he will get suppressed very quickly. Once a Reaper is suppressed, they stay suppressed for a while. And if you're wondering what this is like without this, in case you want the more boss damage. So, because a big problem with Reapers is there's like 3 of them. This doesn't happen very often, but when this does happen, you're like, fuck. So just shooting shots in their direction will do that. You'll suppress them. Once they're suppressed, they actually stay suppressed for quite a while. As you can see, I'm able to handle these 3 Reapers honestly pretty effectively. Just by finding where the most of them are and just constantly keeping them suppressed while I break their ADS with the wall. If I can't break their ADS with the wall, then I could just do something like this. And you see how effective that was? So suppression is the best way to handle Reapers. And suppression is a really, really underutilized thing that I honestly will probably just give its entire dedicated video to. But let me just try to fight these 3 Reapers without any cover whatsoever. See? 3 Reapers, no damage taken, no getting pushed, no nothing, because I kept them suppressed for most of it. There really isn't much else in the way of tech with these guys. Oh, they sprint super quickly. Another thing you can do if you can't suppress or deal good damage is just do anything you can to line of sight them. Now, there is this issue that they like to keep shooting. But whenever he stops shooting... This is another thing that I wanted to talk about. Whenever they stop shooting, they reload, which gives you a small window to attack. So sometimes you're just in the shit, like you're a revolver zealot, and you just have to do this. Worth noting, though, if they reload and you're behind cover, they will reposition. So the moment you come out of cover, you have a couple seconds to retaliate. So mix in breaking their line of sight with slides and suppression, and Reapers will never give you a problem ever again. And if you want to see the stat breakdown on these guys, their stat breakdown is literally all over the place. Now, something that's nice about this, though, is their head is unyielding. Bosses are unyielding. So if you put unyielding on your gun so your gun is a great boss killer, you'll also shred Reapers in, like, a few seconds. And yeah, their sprint speed is really surprisingly big. Also, the detection radius being 13 meters means that unless you engage with them, this is important to understand. See how close you can get to these guys before starting the fight? You have to get about this close before they just aggro onto you. And I'm actually not 100% sure on this. Yeah, they have a very big aggro. They're like demon hosts in that bullets... Yeah, bullets from basically anywhere will aggro them. So if you really are afraid of Reapers, if you're really afraid of Reapers, this probably won't work in like public games or even the LFG Discord, but it is worth knowing about. If you're really afraid of Reapers, as long as you don't shoot in their direction, you can run shockingly close to them before they aggro. So you can just straight up run all the way up to them. And that's the other thing. Another good way to counter Reapers is just get into melee with them. If you're in melee with them, you can treat them like the heavy from TF2, because once you get far enough to the side, they have to do this little janky-ass animation. So, you know, that's another way to handle it. If you're in melee, you just strafe them like a heavy. If you're at range, you suppress them. If you can't do either, you break their line of sight.